Clear to engage. Time on target. 5 mics. Out.
So Brian, I was on Instagram the other day, and because I'm kind of an older millennial, so I'm not on TikTok. I don't want China to have all my data. The people who do, I don't understand. But anyway, I see TikToks like adults do 6 months later on Instagram, and I saw one that was this book in a Walmart in Texas, and it said the achievements of Kamala Harris, and it was by Jason Dudash. And I thought, oh, that's funny. I know a guy named Jason Dudash. This guy who's the author of this book has the same name. And then I text Jason, and I realized he wrote this book. And the greatest thing about it is it was going viral all over the internet. It was like bestseller on a bunch of Amazon lists, and so I wanted to talk to him about it because Jason has worked for the Freedom Foundation. He is just overall a really good guy. Everybody in Oregon Republican politics and Oregon politics knows him, and I was like, wow, now he's a best-selling author. But I was like, dude, what are you doing writing about Kamala Harris? So I thought, Brian, we should get him on the podcast, and he's here now.
Yay, that's so great. I just think it's just awesome. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, Jason, I tweeted after I saw the book. We're not going to tell everybody, spoil the content of the book just yet. We want to, people to buy it for themselves, right, and read it. But I did say that basically as much effort as Kamala Harris has put into her record is how much you put into writing this book, right? I mean, it must have been a huge lift for you, I'd imagine. I've never written a book before. How was that experience?
This is my first, and it's something apparently I've got a good talent for, shooting immediately to #1 on Amazon. But Reagan, this is sometimes in life, you see a need and you realize that you have to be the one to fill it. And my buddy and I were sitting in the back of Magoo's, Salem's Best Bar, talking about this upcoming election. And, the fact that things changed so quickly, where we went from a scenario where there wasn't an American left who did not have an opinion of Joe Biden or Donald Trump. But suddenly there's a new person in town, Kamala Harris. And there was a lot of unanswered questions about exactly who she was, what she believed, what she's done, and what might qualify her to be the president of the United States. And It was one of those things that it just felt too important not to do anything about it. So we really dug our heels in, went into the depths of the internet to find out everything we can about what she's done, what she's said, what she's voted for over her 20 plus years in public office. And the results of that research are now in the pages of my new book, The Achievements of Kamala Harris.
It's so great that you did this at Magoo's, for all those listeners that we have, they all know Magoo's, and the fact that you're in the back room at Magoo's. Magoo's is shady enough, let alone in the back room of Magoo's, which is probably back by the pool tables, I would imagine, right? In the back there.
Of course.
Which is where all the really good people sit, especially when it's not warm outside. But what I loved about it is then I started doing some, after Reagan texted me it, and then I start seeing stuff. I go on Twitter, and all of a sudden they're showing it to Donald Trump on a plane, like a video clip. I mean, that must have been really the like the book worked its way to Trump, which is just got to be kind of cool, right?
That made me feel very, very happy. Yes.
I just think it's, I think that at the end of the day, what we're seeing I saw with Biden, and this is my own anecdote because you kind of leaned into it a little bit, is that everybody kind of had this Biden Trump kind of opinion. And as everybody knows, you probably don't know, Jason, I'm an avid indoor cycler, which means I don't own a bike at all except for a Peloton, and I'll never ride outside because I'll fall over and I'm too big to ride an actual bike, and I won't put spandex on. But the other thing is that on there was always like people that had riding with Biden, was like a hashtag on Peloton and all that sort of stuff. There's nothing on Peloton about Kamala Harris. Like people, there's just no excitement. I think there was an excitement that it wasn't Biden. And I think that's what really got her lift. And then now we're really seeing this wave back to Trump that is really just because Kamala is just, there's just nothing there. But
There's
you might
nothing there.
Do you know something about that? You wrote a book about it. So what is there?
I did. And that's, the results of the book, Brian, and this is one of the things I want to make clear. I think the book has been a little falsely painted as a blank book. And I don't think that's exactly correct, because not only did I write a very compelling opening introduction, but I promise you, after doing the research, that book is filled to the brim with every compelling reason I could find, every achievement throughout her career that was notable. And that just so happens to be none. And I think that that's quite symbolic, and the American people are finding this out more and more, where exactly what you said is exactly correct, that when they made the switch, she got this artificial manufactured bump that people were excited that it was somebody other than a living skeleton running for president. And now that she's been actually out talking to people, doing media interviews, people are seeing that this is someone that can't even answer the most basic of questions. Coming out of the most unpopular presidency in American history, what's one thing you're going to do different than Joe Biden? That should be like her number one answer. Like, that's the 50,000 foot view before you even decide to run. You should be able to know what you're going to say there. And she doesn't have an answer to that question. I think that the way my book is written and the way it's become so popular is because people really identify with the blank pages, seeing that Kamala Harris has quite literally nothing to offer the American people.
Hey, so I was looking on there yesterday, so I searched for it again yesterday. There's now like 20 ripoffs of your idea. Are you guys
I did see
prepared? I
that.
know the Freedom Foundation has some lawyers. Are you guys going to prepare to lawyer up on this? I mean, I think,
You know
frankly,
what?
as far as I can tell, when I was in school, if you copied somebody else's work, that was not allowed. In fact, that was banned. That could get you in huge trouble. I feel like these guys should get in some trouble for, I mean, they literally just copy and pasted your work, the title of the book and everything.
Yeah, they say imitation is the highest form of flattery. This is, one of the many sides of capitalism. People are going to try to do it, but I think obviously ours was the first. Ours is the only real bestseller. It has hundreds of beautiful reviews. If you want to put a smile on your face, take some time and read through some of those.
We're gonna do that right now. Actually, we're gonna look at one
none
of
of
these
these other
great
ones
reviews.
are gonna really come close to the results there. I don't think. I don't intend to do anything about it.
Yeah, I think because there's so many accomplishments in her career, it made it very easy for people to copy your work, which is, it truly was just kind of a funny but a great idea, but also really hits at the heart of what the Harris Walls campaign is nothing, like literally nothing.
Exactly.
And to your point, like you said, like I thought that was the most amazing thing of all the interviews she did in the last couple of weeks. Like she did it not once, but twice when they said, how would you distance yourself from Biden or what would you do different? She literally said twice, nothing. Like that is
She
crazy.
couldn't think of a single thing.
Yeah. And I have to assume she's just vapid, right? There's just nothing there.
I think voters, and I think we know this, especially as Oregonians, our politics has become a pretty watered down version of what it used to be, where it's not so much about the gravity of the issues that we're facing every day, and it's more about personalities. And that is not what this is supposed to be about. And I think that we have seen over the last 4 years what it means to have a completely inept and weak leadership in the United States of America. That's a very dangerous scenario. That scenario costs lives. And I don't think that people want that anymore. We got to wake up. Nobody voted for Joe Biden, but a lot of people voted against Donald Trump. And the outcome of that has been catastrophic. There is not a thinking, intellectually honest person in America today that can tell you their life is better under 3.5 years of Biden-Harris than it was under Donald Trump. And again, I think that's one of the reasons that made this book so successful so quickly is people understand that Kamala Harris is someone who deserves to be made fun of, not given a promotion.
So Jay on Amazon writes, "Love this author." So, Jason, potential prospect out there for you if you're interested. The book precisely describes all the achievements Kamala did in her whole life and does not leave a single thing out. Anyone can read and get the points. Even if you are blind, you won't miss anything. So here's my main and final question, I think, and then Brian can close us up if he has any more. Do you think that this is a good gift for your conservative parents and grandparents or for your liberal parents and grandparents? I mean, where would you fall on that?
Both. It's meant to be both, and it works both ways. I think if you really, Reagan, we're both big fans of the Ruthless podcast. One of the most important things they talk about is being able to win at Thanksgiving with your liberal relatives. I'd encourage everybody to buy a couple copies, bring them to Thanksgiving, make sure you have them on deck to give to your liberal aunts and uncles, and let them justify why they think that Kamala is worthy of support. And I would think that there will be hard strung to think of any reason that I did not thoroughly cover in the pages of my book.
I just put 5 of them in my Amazon cart because I'm totally going to give them out for Thanksgiving. Like, that's so great with Ruthless and all the guys to have. I mean, hopefully, we're looking in the rearview mirror during Thanksgiving at Kamala Harris campaign. I truly hope that it's amazing that the hate, and you touched on it, which I really thought was true, is nobody voted really for Joe Biden. There's probably a few, but the hatred for Trump is just so intense that it doesn't matter. Like, you could put Kamala Harris, who never got a vote in a primary, like ever, including 2020 or in 2024. No rank and file Democrat has ever been able to cast a vote for her for president. And yet she's the nominee. And that just because their hatred for Trump was so strong that they would do anything, including knifing their own president in the back and shoving her forward to do that. And I find it fascinating from a Democrat Party standpoint, because there's a lot of things that I don't like that Trump does or says and things like that, whatever. But there's also, 89, 92% of the stuff that he does that I think are actually incredibly well done. And he's truly a magnificent campaigner. They hate that about it, but the hatred is just so intense. And that's why I think this book really personifies the difference between the two, because I think you could put in a lot of, like, a book on Trump, which there are on Amazon. If you look, you can buy those too. There are a lot of accomplishments that Trump did in the 4 years that he was there. And I'm looking for my final question for you, Jason. Is the follow-up book going to be something about walls, like how to load a shotgun, small town bike riding? What's the follow-up book?
I am not prepared to give you that answer just yet. We have a few things in the works that I expect will go live with in early 2025.
Ooh,
but this was a great first project. I'm very happy with the support we've received, the success that this book has had, and there will be more to come. I'll tell you that for sure.
Well, hopefully you'll sell a bunch of copies to Democrat voters on Wednesday, November 6th. and they'll read millions of times in their lifetime about the achievements of Kamala Harris. That was one other review I saw. There, you can read this book millions of times in your life, and it's really the only book that you can do that with.
We should,
I hope people buy the book, but more than anything, I hope people go vote. Please vote for the president. Please vote for President Trump. Vote in Oregon. We have to participate. The threat that Harris and Walz impose on our country is too great to ignore. And while this book has made light at some of that, it is very serious, and we have to make sure that we're victorious come November.
thanks, Jason. Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. Appreciate having you on, and good luck with the coffee table version. Maybe there's a picture book in the future. I look forward to it.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that was great to have Jason on. What a great story. Literally, Reagan, I just changed my quantity to 9. I just bought 9 books because I got a lot of people. I just started running in my head. I got some aunt and uncles and stuff, and that I really need to get this to.
For the people you like, you can bury like a little gift card in there, and then for the people you don't, it's just the book.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that would be kind of a funny idea for Christmas, right? The book, and then throw some cash in it or something. Yeah, that's a good idea too. I just think it was kind of an ingenious idea to throw up there, but it hits at the heart of everything that we've talked about, and I think that was kind of like maybe his secondary, because Jason's a smart guy, right? I mean, Freedom Foundation, I mean, they know what they're doing in regards to getting, unions out of getting teachers off of the union rolls and all the things that they try to do. But I think it really hits at the heart of what this election is, at least presidential wise. And we don't talk a lot about it. And I think Trump has just stayed true with like his mantra, and he just keeps driving it. And Kamala, it just seems like she just keeps changing her tune, right? She went from the joyride to now she's angry Kamala, which is what we're seeing in the waning days. And I think that the closing argument that Trump has to this race is clearly better than the closing argument that she has, because I think they're still looking for it. And it's basically just like, he is a criminal. And I'm like, well, maybe you convicted him because you guys are just doing everything you can to get anything on everybody and anything to put a felony conviction on him. But the way that this last week, he has owned it. I mean, from the dinner Sunday night, he just destroyed in that comedy stuff. And if you have some time, go watch those YouTube clips of his exchanges about Chuck Schumer. And I just was incredible. And then the McDonald's stuff that he did was just truly over the top, breaking the internet with the memes. And then they get mad and they go, it was staged. And you're like, of course it was staged, you dummies. Like, all of that stuff is staged. That's the point. But Trump loves McDonald's, so that's definitely not staged. Dude loves McDonald's.
I mean, you remember that picture where he had like a ton of McDonald's delivered to the White House. I think he was like the World Series team or something was there, and he had a huge amount of McDonald's delivered. But here's the thing about that too. Everything a president or a presidential candidate does has to be staged because the Secret Service has to protect them. It's not like he could just be like, hey, we're just going over to this McDonald's over there. And Secret Service is like supposed to go in and clear the McDonald's that moment. They need to plan this stuff out to minimize the disruption in people's lives. Like a lot of people don't understand this. McDonald's is a franchised corporation. So there's a local owner, a guy who maybe has a couple of McDonald's,
like
right?
Janelle Bynum.
Janelle Bynum. She's a franchisee. And so the franchisee is the one responsible for all of that, shutting down his restaurant, making it so Trump can go there, opening it back up so people could be there. Like, all of that has to be coordinated, and it's not coordinated with McDonald's corporate. It's with the franchise owner, because that's the restaurant owner. They get some benefits and some stuff from corporate, but they just pay a fee for that. It's not like McDonald's corporate was supervising and endorsing Trump with this. I saw people like try to boycott McDonald's. It's like, you could boycott McDonald's if you don't like the food or whatever. That's fine. But this was like an individual person's choice. And I saw some tweets about like the left is going to try to probably ruin this guy's life now, which is probably true, unfortunately.
No, they won't.
Because that's
They'll
just how they think.
People will forget. I think.
Hopefully.
I try to boycott McDonald's all the time because I know it's not good for me to eat. But dang, sometimes those fries and a double cheeseburger from McDonald's just tastes good. And there's something different about the Coke at McDonald's. I don't know why, but it tastes better.
Yeah.
You know,
It
coming
tastes
out
better.
of their fountain. I don't know. They must put the real Coke in there. I don't know. Who knows?
Last quick thing. Year ago today, NBC News headline: Republicans float a quiet conspiracy theory. Joe Biden won't be on the ballot. Huh. Crazy how much things can change in a year. Joe Biden, and I wasn't somebody who thought Joe Biden was going to drop out because I didn't think it made sense for him personally to do it, but for whatever reason he decided to do it, and it's just that's how crazy politics is. That right there explains to you how fast things moves in politics. 1 year ago, Joe Biden was the obvious, unbeatable nominee for the Democratic Party, and now he's the outgoing president.
Yeah, and he sure seems a little pissed about it. I mean, this stuff just his demeanor and everything. I mean, he's still coherent enough to be pissed.
A lot of reports about the White House staff fighting with Harris's staff, which I find very entertaining.
And he should be pissed, man. I mean, I'd be pissed. I get why they did it. And I mean, from a Democrat standpoint, I understand. You know, I mean, you want to win, and we all want to win, right? I mean, we're in politics. We want to win these races. I don't care if you're running for dog catcher or you're running for president. I mean, we want to win. I want to win in East County and against Chris Gorsuch and win, but so do the Democrats. So they're going to do everything they can. They're going to stretch the truth. They're going to do things they want to, they're going to say things they want to say, but on a presidential level, to run a presidential campaign, you got to be creative and you got to be able to find a way to punch your message through that you can't ignore it. And I think that's what Trump is doing with punching his message through, where people can't ignore the fact that he is better for the job than she is. And I think that's the difference that I'm seeing. And I'm trying to be as objective as possible being a Trump supporter, but I just feel like he's done a way better job of punching that message through the clutter to really just say, this is my case and this is why I will make a better president than her. Not that, because I still haven't really seen much on a policy level at all, except for giving free money to buy a house, which is going to drive up inflation, or giving away more college loans for free. Like none of that stuff is making any sense. So anyways, we can probably end this one on that. And we're going to have a bunch of these. Hopefully this one gets out soon. As soon as Reagan gets off his keister and gets these edited and gets them out, we want to put out a bunch going into next week through the final days of the campaign. So stay tuned.